Hi everybody, this is the Gregory's on the go again. We just got back from our friends and family trip that took us to Georgia and Florida. We visited 7 sets of people in 14 days.
We started out in Chattanooga and had lunch with my daughter at Public House there in downtown Chattanooga. We are on our way to my niece's house. We stopped at a Buc-ee's, I don't know, somewhere on 75 South. And when we got back on the road, it decided to take us back roads for apparently like an hour and a half. And this is a windy, curvy road. It's actually kind of fun.
You're glad we took that instead of the interstate?
I am actually glad. The TomTom is not always accurate about its directions because we've tried to go to state parks and it's put us in people's driveways. In this instance, I'm glad it took us this way and not on the interstate. So anyway.
This trip began at Caitlin's house, and everybody knows how she loves sunsets. When the sun started to set, we had to go out in the backyard and take pictures. And then later on the next day, we actually went out and did some tubing down a river there in Atlanta, at Georgia.
It feels a little more agile now. Oh, quicker. Look at this. Woo! Got some speed now. Wait, it's going.
So we finally got our free e-bikes from Winnebago, and this is us playing around with them in Caitlin and Dan's neighborhood. It's a lot of fun. Hey everybody, we are in Atlanta. We are right now going to see my aunt, Marcia. She lives in Midtown, and traffic in Atlanta right now is fabulous, as you can see. There's hardly anybody on the road.
It's also 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's also 11 o'clock in the morning. So for today in Atlanta, we are at the Fernbank Science Center. I did the math and I haven't been here in about 43 years. We used to come here as a field trip for my elementary school, and it is not the same place, as you can well imagine.
What, there's kids here?
Oh, there's a bunch of kids here. There's a lot of nature. We're on some sort of nature path. It's just very neat.
Do you think you're a little taller now than you were then?
Probably not much. We just came across these sculptures on our walk. Looks like 3 foxes. Pretty cute. Our next stop after Atlanta was my cousin Fletcher and Wanda's. They live on Lake Sinclair in Eatonton, Georgia. We got to go out on the boat, which is a Fletcher thing. They got me Oreos and grapes, which is what you always have to have, thanks to my mother, when you're at the lake. When you're at Fletcher and Wanda's, you always see lizards, and this little guy was poking his head out, and Raymond got a really good shot of him here, and you'll see it in just a second. He was pretty cute. I liked him. And then Wanda that night made her famous poppy seed chicken, which we all love.
We are on our way to Jekyll Island. We're crossing Jekyll River right now, and Jen's driving. Whee! Jen's driving over the bridge, as she said, and a tall, steep bridge.
I don't like them.
Said she don't like them if you didn't hear it. Hear the birds?
And we're listening to the birds. We're on Jekyll Island, and we're on a bike path, maybe that goes around the island. We're not really sure. I think there's somebody behind us.
No, that was actually wind in the leaves. I thought it was something coming out of the water.
Well, there's apparently a lot of sea turtles here and terrapins. So we're just hanging out, exploring, seeing what's going on around the little island.
So in my last video, you saw me have a bike wreck while filming, so I had to do it again just to prove that I can do a bike ride and film at the same time. Although I wasn't on an e-bike this time, so I didn't have to pedal.
It was a little flatter surface too.
Just to prove to you that Jen can ride a bicycle too. So when you're on an e-bike and you get loose sand, it will help you, but it's still hard to stay upright. Jen decided to push her bike. These are some of the pictures around the Jekyll Island. It made a good loop all the way back from a campsite to the pier, back to the campsite. And if we had turned left, we would have found the Driftwood beach sooner than we did. This is a Jekyll Island fishing pier, I think. There was a lot of people fishing there. I didn't see any boats. Real beautiful night sunsets there.
We saw a guy catch this eel, which was pretty cool.
And here we are on Jekyll Island at the fishing pier. Jen doing what she usually does. She is taking pictures of the sunset,
I'm actually doing a time lapse.
a time-lapse picture. The fishing pier is just a short distance from our campsite, so we actually took our e-bikes and rode back to that 2 nights in a row, again to watch the sunset.
Caitlin and I made ice cream sandwiches for everybody one night, and right before we left, I stole a couple. Here we are crossing the intercoastal waterway, I'd never say that right, over the Atlantic, going over to St. Simon's.
It took us a few minutes to cross the bridge, so we sped the video up so you won't have to watch it that long. So we're not really speeding along this fast.
It took about 2-3 minutes to cross this bridge. It was kind of a cool bridge, even though I don't like them.
Was you driving or me at that time?
You were.
Okay.
Hey, we are at the St. Simon's Lighthouse on St. Simon's Island, Georgia. St. Simon's has a special place in my heart. My grandparents and I used to come to St. Simon's every summer and stay in the Craft Oceanfront Motel, which is no longer there, hasn't been for many years. But we probably went to the lighthouse once or twice, but here we are, fixing to go up in it.
Yep, all the way to the top.
So we are now at the top of the St. Simon's Lighthouse. We've climbed 137 steps to get up here. That land you see across from me is Jekyll Island, which is where our campground is. Look at the clouds, oh my god. She would. Hey, so we just found Driftwood Beach. My friend Dawn actually told me about it. And there are these trees that are driftwood all over this beach. There's rocks all over this beach. It's very different than what you normally see on coastal Georgia. These trees are for a mile or two down the beach. It's fascinating.
People are coming from all around out here to take pictures on this driftwood. Wedding parties, you can tell everything like that's out here. We went into a gallery down in Grayton Beach, which you'll see some photos of that later. But while I was in there, I happened to meet a girl that I thought I knew, and as we were just talking to each other, I realized that I met her at one of the galleries where I had photography artwork in Nashville, Tennessee. And she was in the gallery at the same time that I was. While there, she owned the gallery in Grayton Beach, and she asked me to have, could she have some of my photos in her gallery to sell for me? And I said, sure. So that long story, some of these photos you'll see here, a little better condition than the iPhone photo, will be in her gallery, actually starting today, which is the 23rd of August. And she just got the package today. We did visit St. Augustine while we were there, and I was able to fit in the 21-foot parking length in the parking lot. We are at St. Augustine, Florida, the oldest city, I think, in the nation. This is some of the back streets. The lighthouse in St. Augustine.
Our next stop was Tomoka State Park near Ormond Beach, Florida. We ended up having dinner with Kay and Teresa. I hadn't seen Kay in 40 years probably, and it was great to see them. We had dinner with them at the Funky Pelican. So this is a drive along some road in Ormond Beach, and I just thought it was gorgeous with the overhanging trees and the Spanish moss, and it was just really cool.
Yeah, I love that Spanish moss. It makes beautiful pictures. I keep thinking I want to grab some and bring it home with me.
On our way over towards Gainesville and the Panhandle, we stopped at this campsite, I don't remember the name, and we found Bob, a little 4-foot alligator. And I don't believe that Florida really has alligators, but I guess I was wrong.
They're on loan from where?
Yeah, they're on loan from Louisiana.
So far, this has been the hottest campsite we've ever had. I put on the extra shades on the windshield. This is in Grayton Beach State Park in Florida.
The hottest week in Florida, probably. I was watching this.
We're at Grayton Beach in Florida and having a great time. And it's the first time in the beach, and we got another day or two here, then we head back.
Yep.
So this is a better view of the beach without us in the picture. But you can see how pretty green. I call it teal color. Jen said that's not it.
It was aqua,
Aqua?
I guess.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
And when it gets up towards the sand, it actually gets clear.
Clear, yeah. You can see way back in the back, way back there. It gets dark. That's probably out in the deep blue ocean.
The big blue ocean.
Look, another lizard, just for Jen. At this campsite at Grayton Beach State Park, we stayed, I think, approximately 4 days there. And we got to spend a lot of time at the beach. And the campsite itself was in the middle of Grayton Beach and Seaside, or 30A as everybody calls it. And we literally took our little e-bikes, and you're about 5 miles to Grayton Beach, and then you go the opposite direction and 5 miles, and like I said, you're at Seaside. This little lake here was on the way, and of course that's the famous post office at Seaside. That's actually a functioning post office. And we really love this area and spent a lot of time there. We did enjoy it, some trails, a lot of good scenery, a lot of good photo opportunities. We will be going back.
So a friend of ours who also has a camper recommended that we go to this campground, and we actually had to get on a wait list, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved the dunes, loved the waves, loved the color of the water, the sand. Everything is just pristine, and we are big fans of Destin, and this is right up there with Destin, if not better, just because it's less crowded. They have the sea turtles, which we didn't see any, unfortunately. That's okay. That's all right.
We'll go back.
Yep. Our last stop on this trip was in Hanseyville, Alabama. We stopped at a farm that was a harvest host. Typically at a harvest host, you stay on a farm or a winery or a brewery or somebody that agrees to let you stay basically one night. And this guy was fabulous. His property was gorgeous.
Had a lot of cows.
Yep. Thank you for watching the Gregory's on the Go. If you like what you watched, please hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for our next adventure on up the East Coast all the way up to Acadia, the Adirondacks, and Niagara Falls.
See you then.